Hey everybody, it's Aaron here with Get Your Geek On, and welcome to Gaming Geek, the video game podcast where we talk about anything video game related, whether it's tournaments, esports, news, events, or just fun topics that we want to talk about that are video game related. This week, we're going to talk about games that need a remake, and for this one, I decided to bring my friend, a streamer here in San Antonio, Victoria. Come say hi.
Hello. Hey.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. I so did.
And this is why I brought her, guys.
Vic's Gaming Corner. Sorry, I have a couple of channels out there, y'all.
This is
So
how
I
busy
do
she
a
is.
lot of gaming, live streaming, variety streamer. We're going to be talking about some interesting little things that we want to bring up. Right, Aaron?
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of little fun things. We've done a few topics already on this podcast. I've talked about esports. By the time this one's been released, the actual Rainbow Six Siege podcast I talked about will be out. Some of our top 5 game developers have been out. So hopefully you checked all those out as well. But yeah, today's like what I wanted to do with you because we're about the same age. We're only 21 guys, both of us. So
Just together, right?
but yeah. We're just 21 plus a few other levels. That's about it, right?
Yeah, just some levels.
Just some levels.
Some Paragon points there.
There you go. But, you're someone I know that, you've been gaming for a long time, and you always have fun playing it. I mean, I know your big one right now is Pokemon Ascencio or whatever it's called?
It's the Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's
Arceus.
A very, very well done game. There's some drawbacks from some people, criticism about it. It's a new formula that Pokemon is doing, Game Freak is doing, and I actually like it. I like that there's no PvP. I like that it's like Breath of the Wild, but with Pokemon. That's probably the best way to sum it up. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, I watched you play, so I enjoy watching it. I probably will end up picking that one up now. But
ooh, nice.
I like the PvP. I like fighting people. That's my thing with that one.
I know, you play Halo. I tried to play Halo. It was not for me.
I play Call of Duty. I don't play Call of Duty anymore, but I really got back into Rainbow Six Siege, which is a tactical shooter game. Like, you really got to think on what you're going to do.
Yeah, I keep seeing a Rainbow Six thing coming up somewhere. I keep getting advertisement for it, but it's not for me.
No, well, because by the time this is released, it's already happened. There was a $3 million tournament this month. So that's why, you're probably seeing a lot of push for it. They're doing all the qualifiers. I believe there's 24 esports teams going at it for that one. So I wonder, and by the time this is uploaded, I wonder who won. Because we recorded this 2 weeks before that events actually happened. So I'll be watching that though. But hopefully that'll be a good one. So games that we think need a remake. So I didn't give us any stipulations on this one, guys. I just basically said to Victoria, I was like, hey, I want to talk about games that need a remake. So we're going to just kind of go over a little back and forth of what we think, which games will need a remake or should be remade. And since you're the guest, we'll start with yours. You've made a comment about a franchise, I think, though. So
I did.
What are you thinking?
So the first one I want to mention clearly is Zelda.
But Zelda's had a million
right?
games.
Wait.
Okay,
Hear me out.
okay.
So I'm talking about the Nintendo versions, the 8-bit ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to see what they did with Link's Awakening. I would like to see more of that happen. Those games are so much fun. And the way that they made Link's Awakening in a toy world, I think they can bring that to, I want to see the original Zelda remade, as well as Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link, because The Adventures of Link was a huge overworld, and I think that with the right mechanics, it would be awesome like Breath of the Wild. That's just my insight on it. Okay. I think that they deserve remakes. But we're going to tie into another game here, and that one is going to actually have 2 that I want to mention, just because they're technically not sequels. Sequel, I guess you want to say.
Okay.
But they're really not linked except for 3 characters. Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger, really? Okay.
Chrono Trigger needs an HD remaster. Remix needs to remake that game already.
So, we said, the original Zelda came out, 25, 30, oh no, 30 years ago, I think, right? Because it would have came out. It would have come out.
It's 35 years, man.
Dude, yeah, we're getting there. But Chrono Trigger.
So Zelda came out like what, 1983 or 86?
Okay, so first
One of
Zelda
those years.
first Zelda game came out in 1986, which was The
There you
Legend of
go.
Zelda. That
So like
started
35.
in yeah. Well, that started in Japan back in February 21st, 1986. And then the European release and American releases came a few months later in August and November, respectively. So, yeah, though I could see why you'd give those a remake. Because, I mean, we're talking a 30-plus-year-old game.
Yes, absolutely. I
So,
think it deserves it.
I could see that. It'd be nice to see some updated graphics. Now, Chrono Trigger came out in 1995 in Japan.
Yes.
And then, well, mostly 95 in Japan for US and Japan. I can talk, I swear. I don't run a podcast that I can't talk on.
Hey, we get tongue-tied. It's all good.
Exactly. So, Chrono Trigger, why Chrono Trigger though? I mean, didn't they remake
It's
that one or
such a
not?
good story. There's so many fans behind it who honestly want an HD remake. I think that with the art style that they're doing with Dragon Quest, especially with Dragon Quest 11, I think that that kind
Ooh.
of art style would be perfect
Yeah.
for an HD remaster. I think that they have the mechanics. I think they have the tools to make it. I think it's just a matter of getting everybody on board who originally did these, the licenses, the copyright, all that stuff, to just redo it. Like, that would be
Right.
amazing. It really would be. And I think that it would bring it into a more current generation. It was such a wonderful story with so many endings and so many possibilities. I think that's why it became such a fan favorite.
Well, and that's true. I think you're right. I mean, that game has been re-released, the original copy, for like iOS, Android, Windows, all of that. But yeah, there's never been a true, like, let's go ahead and remake and update this game to look nicer. It was originally made by Square, so technically
Squaresoft, which is now Square Enix.
Right, but they're not, are they owned by, no, they're not owned by anybody right now. Unless Sony decides to start buying up companies as well. I don't know.
They already did with one.
Which was a stupid buy. I'm not even going to get into that. That was a stupid buy, Sony.
We already had this conversation on my stream.
Exactly. But I like that idea because, I mean, Chrono Trigger was a fun little game back in the day. I haven't played it in like 20-something years, but
yeah,
I would be down to try that again if they made a remake for that one.
Oh, I would love it. I would love it. I mean, if you looked at Dragon Quest 11, I was going to say XI. Roman numerals here.
Roman numerals 0.
If you look at if you look at Dragon Quest 11, you're gonna notice like there's one little particular baddie I like in there, and that is from the bestiary, and that's gonna be the frog. I could totally see them using that particular model for frog. Like I really could. It looks their artwork is amazing as it is, and I know that they have like people on board to do a lot of different things. It's like they already have the art style. They just need to make the game HD.
Yeah.
They just need to do it.
Exactly.
At least that's one of my wishes. But then it ties into what quote unquote is the sequel, which is Chrono Cross. They actually did touch up on something with Chrono Cross quite recently, and I have yet to play it. It's called Another Eden, and there's like a little chapter that's dedicated to Chrono Cross with some updated visuals. But it's not a Chrono Cross remake. And I was curious about what it is. It's like an iOS touch game, but it's on Steam. And so it's a free game.
Interesting.
It is an RPG, kind of, sort of, but it's like a
up your alley
thing. Yeah, I haven't had time to dedicate to it, but I have seen some of the gameplay, and I'm like, this looks interesting. But I would rather see a full-on Chrono Cross remake as well. With HD graphics. I know we've seen people do it with RetroArch with their HD textures, and it looks phenomenal.
Right.
I kind of showed it off a little bit once in Discord, too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've kind of given a little preview of, hey, this is looking really amazing. Let's make this happen. Come on, Square.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I know, right? But then this transitions into the last RPG that I was going to mention by Square again, because you know I'm a diehard RPG JRPG person. I love action RPG. Like I live in the RPG world, right? Because I love stories.
Exactly, and that's why like one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on because we balance each other out. I feel like I like RPGs, but you like love RPGs. That's your
I
bread and butter.
do.
Where me, I
Yes.
like them. I'll play them. I love side scrollers. But at the end of the day, I'm a shooter. Give me a side scroller that's a shooter. Give me Halo. Give me Destiny when I was playing that. Give me Diablo, which is still like a over the shoulder thing. Gears of War. I love
Speaking
those.
of Diablo, there's a new game that's very similar with different classes. It's called Lost Ark. I am excited about that game, by the way.
And I want to point out, said in your stream that you better join me and Duffy when we play that game.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
all three of us will be streaming that one probably.
I'm excited about that one and Elden Ring too, because Elden Ring's sitting
You
there
and
in the
Duffy.
library.
Duffy's been looking at Elden Ring too. And again, this is why I wanted to bring you on, because you give that counterbalance to me where I would just you'll see what games I pick in a minute. But yeah, guys, definitely go.
I have a feeling they're shooters.
Kind of. There's one, I don't even know if you've ever heard of it or played it, because it's a game that like got underrated. But it actually got good reviews when it came out. But yeah, definitely, guys, make sure you go check out her stuff, because that comes out on the 11th, but we get it 3 days. Are you gonna get the 3 days early? Did you buy it? Okay.
I did the pre-order.
Same, and because you and Duffy kind of convinced me.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, I think that it's cool because you get to play with a group of people, and basically, I think it's 4 in a party, and you can do 2 parties.
Yeah.
So a total of 8, but you can only have like 4 in your actual party.
Yeah.
I've been reading up on the stuff.
Dude,
so
Duffy knows that game in and out already, because it's
really?
already been, because it was released in Korea, and he's been following it since then.
Ooh,
And
nice.
he's like, Aaron, this is what you can do, this, that, and the other. And I know we're sidebarring everything right now, but I will say this.
Yeah.
I liked one feature. He said that you can, create your main character, then you can create like another character and leave the secondary character in the training ground, and they'll level up on their own up to 2 levels below your maximum level character.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
So it's almost like what Diablo does after you hit level 70 and you've acquired your Paragon points, and then you actually come back to play whatever your new character is. You hit 70, then you get those Paragon points, like for that season. I like that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that until he said that, because I told him, I'm a dad, I'm a filmmaker, I do this, I do everything. So I'm like, I don't know if I'll have time to get 4 or 5 characters up to level 40, 50, 60, whatever the cap is. He's like, no, man, just get the one that you want, and then leave the other one to train. And then they'll train and get to the 2 levels below, so you don't have to put as much time into it. I'm like, oh, thank gosh, that's what I want. That made me, that sold me. That alone sold me.
See, I didn't even know that was a thing. Now I'm going to have to read up on it. That and Elden Ring, because I really, when I saw the previews for Elden Ring, I'm super stoked. Now, there's another RPG that Square's making. I forget what it's called, but it has a girl, and she's kind of like in a Final Fantasy world, which is actually going to be into the transition of what I'm going to talk about on your next last JRPG that I'm going to mention. But I forget what it's called. Forspoken? Yeah, Forspoken. That's the one.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, I want to play that. Looks awesome.
Don't know anything on that one.
You'll have to check that out, dude. It's pretty cool.
I'll look that one up. I have to check it out.
Your main character, so it's pretty cool. I like that they're starting to bring female characters, but this is something Square does anyways. Like if you look at some of their games, some of their characters are like female. They're nice little badasses.
Oh, heck
anyways.
No, but it's perfect.
Back into what I was going to talk about Final Fantasy. I know they recently did the pixel remasters, which is great. It touches up, it gives a little extra touch to something that still feels about 20, 30 plus years ago, and same mechanics. But what I really want them to do is push the bar, start making HD remakes. I would love more than anything to see Final Fantasy VI have a HD remaster, just like Final Fantasy VII. I would love to see Final Fantasy VI, because the story is amazing. The music score, there's one music score in there that I absolutely love. But on top of that, the entire soundtrack for Final Fantasy VI is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It is. It really is. And I love the story behind Terra. I do. And I feel that game truly deserves an HD remaster.
Yeah. Okay. Now, random fact, did you know why they call it Final Fantasy?
Oh, I do.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Was going under.
Yes, and this was their final one.
This.
Yes.
Yeah, it was their swan song.
Yeah, they thought that was it, and then Final Fantasy just gave them enough funds to keep going.
And and their stories are good. Like,
They
you know,
are.
if you bring the story, and I'm love dialogue, so
Yeah.
if you bring a good story with newer current graphics, and don't get me wrong, the pictures are just great. You know, it's nostalgia hitting all over again every time I play it. But
Yeah.
if you bring it current, imagine how many more people you draw into that world with current
Exactly.
things. And I would love to see that. I would like to see the vision that they bring to it, just like they did with the Final Fantasy VII remake. It looks amazing. I never thought I would be able to see Cloud Strife like in full detail with hair, like
Yeah.
little thin pieces of hair, like strands, and I'm like, I'm blown away with that. And then the way that they do the details in the eyes, I would love to see them do that with their games. But more importantly, I'm more curious about what Nintendo is going to do with some of their backlogs that they have, like aces under a sleeve.
Yeah.
I
I
really am.
I agree, because I mean that it does have me curious what they're going to do and what they're going to try to pull out, because it's like Nintendo, I feel like has been sitting on the sidelines, just kind of like the
Doing
sleeping
their own
giant.
thing.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they did the OLED Nintendo Switch, which I we've talked
I
about
have
this.
one.
You have
I
one.
love
I
it.
don't think it's worth it. That's just personal
I
opinion.
love it.
But
It's
it's
awesome.
it looks cool. Like, don't get me wrong. I think if you have a Switch, no reason to upgrade. If you don't have a Switch, buy the OLED. That's
Yeah.
kind of my thing on that one. But I agree. I think Nintendo is sitting there doing something. I'm waiting for like that one moment that they're like, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna blow everyone out of the water. Here's all the games we've been holding on to for the last like 8 months."
Right now, they're holding on to one that we're all waiting for, and that's Breath of the Wild's 2 sequel.
That
I
comes
want
out
to play
this year,
that
doesn't it?
already. Yes,
Yeah.
allegedly, you know,
Yeah.
but they probably, if there is a delay, and you know, we're still in the middle of a pandemic, so if there is a delay, take your time, Nintendo, make it right.
Hey,
Please. And please don't make it rain all the time. Please.
make it rain. No, they're gonna make it rain. They're
No.
gonna make it rain that money. That's how they make it rain.
Oh no,
So,
I'm talking about the weather
oh, I
mechanics in
know.
Breath of the Wild, dude.
I know. I've seen. So my co-host Robert on my other podcast, I seen his wife play, and I'm like, it's raining all the time I see her play.
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah, no, I agree with you. So I want to move on to mine, because mine are gonna be completely different than what you said, and
Oh yeah, I figured.
it's gonna be interesting. So I did one as a franchise. Since you made that comment, I was like, you know what? I think I'll do the same. My
Cool.
franchise one, and I don't know if you played it. It originally started on the N64, Perfect Dark. I don't know if you ever played those.
So I've watched it. It's
Mhm.
not my kind of game, but I will watch it. I've
Yes.
watched people play Resident Evil. I've watched people play a
Oh,
bunch
Resident
of different
Evil.
shooter games. And it's like I want to do it, but it's like one, zombies, no thank you. And shooters, no thank you. It's not for me unless it's Tomb Raider.
You know, one of these days I
So
gotta, like, in October we gotta play, like, you gotta watch me play like all the Resident Evils or something in October. We gotta
I
stream
have
that
them
or
on my
something.
Xbox.
Well, some of them are good. Some of them are good. But I love Perfect Dark. It is a sci-fi shooter, coming off the heels of, I believe GoldenEye came first, and it came off the heels of that. And it got a remake for the first one in 2010. They did a prequel game around that same time, I believe, a little bit sooner, I believe. And the prequel just didn't do well to me. It felt like it was a money grab. And then they did Perfect Dark
Oh.
Remake, which was like, okay, this is literally just a huge upgrade of the game. But again, that was in 2010. That was 12 years ago. And the game hasn't been touched. There's been no other games except those two. And I really feel like Joanna Dark needs that like upgrade. Because it's like, again,
Yeah, I feel you on the money grabs. That's how I felt with the Pixel remasters.
yeah, and that's why I felt this Perfect Dark Zero. That's what it was called. I played it. I loved it. It looked cool. But it was just, the storyline wasn't as good as Perfect Dark, the original in the 64. And I was so disappointed, because I'm like, I want Joanna Dark. I want to feel like that Joanna Dark I felt in the 64. Because she's a badass. Like, you don't mess with Joanna Dark. You mess with her, you're going to get 2 in the chest and 1 in the head. And she's probably going to shoot you one more time just because she's bored. And it's like, I love
Wow.
that about her. She was just so like lethal and trying to get the missions done, and didn't care what had to happen to get them done. And then, you know, trying to save the alien, doing all this stuff. It was a fun game. And I just really think that they need to revisit that whole franchise and give us Joanna Dark again. Give us that, like, this is what we need again to revamp the first-person shooter genre. I mean, Halo did it in 2001. Gears did the third-person genre again. I think this
Yeah.
one needs. I think they need something to be a wrench thrown into them to make them like, hey, we don't need male
You mean
protagonists.
like
We don't
something
need
original,
anything.
but something with the similar mechanics?
Exactly. And I think Perfect Dark can still do it. Like, just give me a new story with Joanna Dark. We don't have to even tie it to the first stuff. Just, okay, here's this badass Laura Croft kind of woman with guns.
Yeah.
And I think that one really, really needs that remake. And I'm hoping one day they'll revisit it. I don't know if they ever will, because I think the game's owned by Rare, I believe. So I don't know if they're ever going to do anything with it, since they're not doing anything really. So
Yeah.
that's
They,
one.
there's so many companies that have so many games that are fan favorites that they basically let it just sits there collecting dust,
Hmm.
and they could do so much more with it. And you just made me think about one of them that's on PlayStation 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of dark. It kind of reminds me of Silent Hill, and then it kind of reminds me of like collecting with an RPG, but like survival.
Yeah.
Survival horror is what I was thinking.
There you go. I mean, that's a good one to have. I mean, PlayStation, no, not PlayStation. GameCube had a good horror game that I'm not going to mention now because I'm going to probably talk about on a later episode. That I want
Yeah, I
to
was
see
kind of holding
happens.
off on the title. I was like, I'll keep that pending.
Well, because like this will
Sit on
be.
that.
I mean, just to kind of throw it out there, guys. If these do well, this will be like a monthly segment that I'm going to do, just talking about games that need a remake. Because let's face it, there's 50 years worth of video games roughly
Yes.
that we can all talk about and go over like, oh, I remember this one and this one. So I have a whole list I was going to go through. I was picking the ones that I like right now. I actually going to do another podcast later
That's what I was
with another
telling
guy.
you. I was like, I have a few more that I could
Oh
totally
yeah,
throw
well,
in there.
if you're down to do more, we will do more. So I will be
Yeah.
doing this topic at least once a month, guys. So yeah, so Perfect Dark needs that remake. The next game I think that definitely needs a remake, and I don't know if you know about it. It came out on the Xbox in 2004. A game called
2004.
a game called Second Sight. You ever heard of that one?
I never heard of it.
Okay, have you heard of a game called Psyops? It came out on the PlayStation 2 and
No.
Xbox. Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know Second Sight, it was literally a gem in that era of PS2 and early Xbox like that. And what it was you woke up as a scientist, no memory of your past, no idea what happened, but you all of a sudden had like these psychic powers, and you were trying to basically figure out what happened and how you got these powers. The problem is, Psyops was the same idea. You were a psychic, but you were a soldier, if I'm not mistaken. And
Is
the
the
game,
cover with the dude grabbing his head and it's all red?
yeah, that's the cover for the game. And
They have this on Steam, don't they?
yes, actually, yeah, yes, it came back on Steam because it was on Steam for a little while. Then for some reason it was removed, and now it's back again. And nobody really knows why it even went away. There was rumors that it's going to be remade. That's why they pulled it down, but nothing ever happened. They never remade it. So the game is pushing. Let's see, it came out 2004. What was that 18 years old, right? Roughly, something like that.
I think I could watch this. Like, I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the gameplay, and this looks like something I could like kick back and watch somebody play it.
I'll play that one if you want to watch someone. I'll buy it and play it.
Heck yeah.
It's a shooter, like at the end of the day. But
Well, yeah, I see that. But you're exploring. It looks
it's a
like some
story.
kind of military compound or something.
Yeah, because he's trying to figure out how he
Facility.
got these powers. I don't want to give the story away for anyone who has never played the game, because this was a game
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay away from it because this was a game that came out. Actually, I'll just read the little thing about it. The player assumes
synopsis?
the player assumes control of an American parapsychological researcher who awakens in a medical facility with no memory of their past and powerful psychic abilities, and breaks out with these powers in order to uncover their past and their involvement in a mission that undertook with a specialist task force of the United States Marines. So that's what it is. The gameplay is divided up between gun combat, stealth, with an emphasis on players making use of different psychic abilities to survive against hostile opponents and overcoming obstacles and tricky puzzles. So it came out, I'm not gonna lie, it got great reviews. 2 months prior, though.
Interesting. Like, this is something I could like sit back and watch somebody play it because, like I said, I'm not a shooters person unless it's like Tomb Raider or Far Cry. And even then, I'm not that good at the games. I just enjoy it.
Yeah.
So,
And
but I could see myself watching somebody play this.
yeah, I will buy it and play it because I love that game. I will support that game. And see, the thing is, PsyOps came out 2 months earlier, but that one literally was labeled as a, third-person shooter game with ragdoll physics, with a variety of psychic powers to defend themselves and fight back in combat. It was the same game essentially with the idea, but they both laid it out differently. And PsyOps, I feel, had bigger. You know what? They had more money. I'm gonna say it that way because it was actually produced by Midway, who was big in the gaming at the time, whereas the developer for Second Sight was Free Radical Design, and I think they were just maybe they just didn't have the funding to push the game as hard as Midway did. And at that time, Midway was making a lot of games. They were hitting a lot of them out of the park. So I think Second Sight just got overlooked because everyone's like, oh, you're just ripping off them. Well, no, if they only came out 2 months apart, there's nobody ripping off anybody, really. It's just they hit market first. But
Very
PsyOps...
true. Sometimes there's certain developers who are working on very similar games. I can probably bring this particular thing up, and I think this was something that was going on in an interview between Horizon Zero Dawn and Breath of the Wild when both games were first coming out, and I think one of the developers said, oh, this is very similar to our game.
Yeah.
It happens, great minds think alike. That's the best thing I can say about the industry is you are going to see some games are pretty much going to be kind of like the same idea. It's not always going to be from the same developer, from the same company, but that does happen. Sometimes they're released within the same amount of time. And so you have to understand competition is healthy.
Exactly. And I always tell people, too, you never know what happens. It's like the movie Ants in a Bug Life. The reason Ants got started is because he pitched the idea to the people at whoever made Bug's Life. Was it DreamWorks or whoever? And he pitched the idea. Both
movies were good.
Both of them were good. But the guy who created Ants actually pitched the idea. Bug's Life were like, people, I can't remember who made it, were like, no, we don't want that movie. It's garbage. And then they made Bug's Life when he made Ants. And both of them are good in their own ways. Ants is a more serious tone, whereas Bug's Life's a little jokier.
I like Ants a little bit more on the mature side.
Yeah, but it's funny because it's like he was like, okay, and then someone said, oh, let's make a comedy, and I feel like that's kind of what happened. Like PsyOps, maybe somebody from a Second Sight pitched the idea, and someone heard it at Midway and was like, oh, we should make something like this, and we're going to make it more of a shooter, where they made it more of a storytelling because it was a good story, and the ending was it hit a little close to home because I was like, dang, like that was a good ending. I really enjoyed it.
And it's just like you said, they do it in the movie industry all the time. So
it happens all the time.
It's nothing new. It's nothing surprising.
Exactly. It's like, okay. And I don't know. So I think it needs a remake. The company, if you're out there listening somehow, please remake Second Sight. Make me that, or make another game like it because it was just amazing, I feel like. So my last one, because again, that was kind of like my little one that was in the middle for both of us.
As your little diamond in the rough?
Yeah, diamond in the rough. That fits kind of the storytelling and the shooting. And then so does this game fits the storytelling and shooting. Halo 3 needs a damn remake.
Oh, I knew it. I felt the Halo was coming on.
Well,
you saved the best for last, didn't you?
I did. For me, in my heart, we have Halo 1 remake. We have a Halo 2 remake. We have skipped Halo 3 for whatever reason. 343 and Microsoft says, do not do it. And then we have Halo 4. Halo 3 needs a remake. The story is just phenomenal. And now the sad thing is because Halo 1, that game came out in 2001. That game's over 20 years old now.
Oh my God, has it been that long?
Yes, last year was its 20th anniversary, actually.
Oh my God.
So that game came out 20 years ago. Halo 2 has come out, 2004. So that would be 16, 17, 18 years ago almost.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been, well, yeah, because 16, yeah, it's been a while.
So Halo, what, 2 just turned into an adult?
It just graduated to an adult. It can legally drive.
Go.
It can, so where Halo 1 can start drinking already. That one's almost there.
Officially say hold my beer.
Yep, Halo 1 says hold my beer now, officially. Halo 2, it came out 18 years ago. Halo 3 came out in 2000 and I believe 7. Let me make sure I am right before I yell at myself. Halo 3 came out. Yes, I was right. September of 2007. So here's the thing. Halo 1 got a 10-year anniversary remake, I believe, and Halo 2 got it. And now those games, they have updated graphics. Like you said, the HD quality is amazing
Mhm.
now. And it's beautiful to see those games now.
Well, I
Now that they
played
got
the
updated.
Halo, the new one. I played it. I'm not a fan of Halo because I just don't do shooters. I mean, the graphics look freaking awesome. I mean,
You
they're
played the
really
remake, right?
amazing.
Or the
I
upgraded one,
played the
I should
one
say.
that was on Steam, the one that you sent me, so we could do multiplayer. And I did one of those
Mm,
multiplayer, I guess, capture the flag kind of thing.
it
Not for
was
me.
if it
I
was
died.
it wasn't Halo Infinite, right? It wasn't the new one?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay,
That's
that's
the
the
one I
new
was
one.
playing.
So this Halo 1 is old. That's the like, Halo
Oh,
Combat Evolved is the original game.
okay.
Um Halo Combat Evolved that's one that has the remake. That one looks beautiful too though now. And Halo 2 Anniversary looks beautiful. And it's so sad when you play if you go back and play through the Master Chief Collection, which has all the games on it,
Hmm.
Halo 1 and 2 is just like so beautiful. It's just like, oh my god, these games look amazing. They look great. And then Halo 3 is still using 2007 graphics. So it's like,
They
oh,
look like
you're
polygon figures, huh?
pretty much. It's like, oh yeah, this looks like garbage. Like, oh man, we
Oh
thought
my!
this was
I
good in the
remember the
day.
era of just polygon gaming.
Triangle
Oh,
boobs.
oh crap! I just accidentally hit my mic.
Oh gosh. And this is what happens
That's
when
like
she
yesterday when
records.
my headset fell off of my head.
I
So
laughed when
random.
that happened for you too. I was like, oh, there goes her headset. Yep, bye headset.
It did. It slipped off of my head, y'all. It's
That's
on
funny.
stream.
It is. Go watch your streams. But yeah, Halo 3 needs a remake. It's the crappiest looking game now in the franchise. It needs its 10-year anniversary remake to upgrade those graphics, make them look beautiful, and just overall have a good look to the first 3 Halo games
Well,
and that
aesthetics are
started it.
important in a video game these days. And I can say coming from the pixel age
Mhm.
to
The
now,
pixel
I
age.
am blown away with the graphics. Like I'm enjoying Dragon Quest 11, right? And here I'm like, why can't they remake all of the RPGs like this? So
Yeah. And that's why
they're
it's like
amazing.
but yeah, no, and I agree. And that's why I'm like they need to upgrade these things because like you said, it's all about looks now. I mean, look at this. Like, how many
Hmm.
times do we look at our computer and say, "Oh, I got the 120 frames per second. I got a 1440 monitor at bare minimum because I want to
Right.
make sure this," and then we go and we play a game
Don't
from
forget to
25 years
throw in the
ago.
RGB for extra FPS,
Oh yeah,
man.
we gotta get the RGB in there, and it's like we do all that, and it's like I'm gonna go play a game from 25 years ago, guys. Triangle boobs were the big theme back then, so they're gonna look like triangles, just to let you know. And it's like, why did I get this?
Oh my gosh. Can we bring up Tomb Raider for that?
Yes, you can bring up two. That was my thought. My thinking behind it was triangle
Oh
boobs.
my gosh. I am not the only one who thought about that. Like the
No.
first thing I thought of when you were talking about video game boobs, the first person that comes to mind is Tomb Raider.
Yes, because her and her triangle boobs. There was a meme I saw earlier, and it was. Oh, I can't remember it. I cannot remember. I have to look for it. I'll send it to you because it was a Laura Croft one with the triangle boobs, and then like the updated versions now. And I forgot what it
Yeah,
was.
she's
I have
come a
to look
long
for it.
way.
She has like she's gotten so many good remakes and so many good like looks games
And
in
some really
general.
good voice acting too.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
let's throw in voice acting. Like,
Oh
I
yeah.
would like to see more of that in video games, especially story-driven video games. Like, I want to hear the character now. Like, yes, I can sit there and play the pixel games and read the story and have the voices in my head, but I want to hear it now. Like, I hate to say that I got spoiled with this day and age in gaming with the HD graphics, but voice acting is very important these days.
We are going to start wrapping it up, guys. But I want you to tell us, what do you play the most right now? What are you streaming right now? I know you're going to stream Lost Ark. You're streaming
Right.
Pokemon. I don't know if you're still streaming Pokemon by the time this comes out, which is in a
Heck
couple of
yeah!
weeks. All right, she's going to
I'll still
still
be
be
playing
streaming
that.
that. What else are you streaming? What else do you people, where else could they find you? I know you have your Discord and everything else. Let's talk a little bit about
Right.
you.
So the streaming stuff, I usually will do Dead by Daylight. But right now that's been taking a backseat because of Pokemon.
And she won't play with
So
me anymore on Dead by Daylight.
right. I love Dead by Daylight. I've been trying to send you invites, but you're never online.
You need to text me when
Let's
you get on.
see. Lost Tribes. Lost Tribes. Tribes of Midgar. There we go.
Oh,
Tribes
that's
of
a good
Midgar
one.
is a really good game. I enjoy it. Trust me, it's a lot of fun. I get addicted. I can sit there playing that for hours if I'm given the time. So,
Yeah.
oh yeah, so I enjoy a lot of games, not just, RPGs, but I do enjoy some multiplayer games. So I got into Dead by Daylight because of Mike, and I got into Tribes of Midgar, because it's like, oh, this is Norse mythology, and I was playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So, there's a lot of games that I enjoy outside of just the RPG realm. But yeah, there's my gaming, Vic's Gaming Corner. You'll find that both on Twitch and on YouTube, but I'm always live on Twitch. Clips and all that stuff usually goes to my YouTube channel. I recently just posted a full gameplay of Life is Strange Remastered.
Ooh, I
The
like that
first
game.
episode. Yeah, it's still uploading in 4K on my channel there.
Heck yeah.
And then I also have my little creative corner, and you'll see Vic's Creative Corner on YouTube. I talk about tutorials, basically for people who want to learn how to start up a stream, need help with OBS, need to learn things. And this is from just trial and error, do's and don'ts on my end, and then I turn it into a video for you all. I try to be helpful too.
Oh, look at that. She tries to be helpful.
It's in my DNA to be, I guess.
For what we do for a living, yeah.
Right.
And that's the thing too. I will say I love watching your little tutorial things. They are helpful, guys.
Oh, thank you.
They do help out me. Me and you have talked about certain things with streaming and audio and all that. And again, being a filmmaker, I give you the audio side and the light side. You give me the streaming side a little bit more.
Yeah, I appreciate you telling me about the light. I didn't even realize.
Course.
And
yeah,
I have to throw it out there. I got a message about it, and I didn't realize that they were talking about the light. So it's like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, oh, and that's what bites though, is I had you on the other monitor. So yeah, guys, definitely go check her stuff out. I support local stuff. You know me. I love doing that for everybody. So, definitely go check out her Twitch and everything else. The links will be in the description below of this podcast, as well as you can go. Of course, and of course you can always go to our site, our Facebook page, official GYGO, and I'll have your link up there when this podcast dropped. If you want to just go over there, click on that, and it'll take you to all her stuff too. So that's all there, and we're gonna go ahead and call it here. But I do want to thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate you. I love talking to you about this stuff because me and you can just go on and on and on about games and everything. So I love you here. I love when you come on. So
thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
I appreciate it. You need to come on more. But on that note, guys, definitely go check out her stuff. Go check out our stuff at official GYGO, wherever you listen to podcasts, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, wherever. Go look us up and enjoy and stay geeky and get your game on, guys.
You heard him. Get your game on.